What's up, guys? Philip at Trade Genius. Okay, Forbes came out with a very interesting article. We're going to discuss that in this video, but basically focuses on the OTC market, which is the over-the-counter market where very large buyers, we're talking the billionaires of the world, are looking to purchase huge quantities of Bitcoin. And here's a weekly chart, and I think what they're seeing is it's finally getting to that point where Bitcoin's not going anywhere, and there's just not enough of it to go around. And those who control a lot of it are going to be extremely wealthy. It's going to be a huge inflationary hedge. There's a lot of things going on in the global marketplace things are getting a little dicey. There's a lot of warning flags, and I think people are looking for a hedge against what may spur a wave of inflation globally. So if you look at this chart, we overlaid basically projected bars based on previous bottoms and price action, and this takes us to $175,000 into October 2021. Obviously, there's higher predictions. McAfee's got $1 million by 2020, and some of the other guys have like $250,000 by 2022, things of that nature. But we're already outperforming typical price action from these bottoms here now that we're trading up over 8,000 to 9,000. So I think it's becoming pretty apparent the size of this next move that's coming. And I think the fact that they came out with this article is probably this. So we're going to dive into this article, check that out. Pretty interesting stuff. So I think it's pretty apparent. So the probabilities of a very large move from where we're at is pretty good, and I think the big boys know that. So let's check out this Forbes article and dive into this video.
Trade Genius.
All right, so article from Forbes, how the super rich are buying up Bitcoin. So basically what this is talking about is there's a brokerage, they specialize in high-end antiques, art, things like that. But now there was a demand for crypto-related things, not only crypto-related purchases for art, but just facilitating large purchases of crypto, mainly Bitcoin. So the name of it is the Dadiani Syndicate. But I think what they're doing, a lot of this OTC stuff is word of mouth, right? So by doing this article, let's just say there's a long time Bitcoiner out there. Maybe he's got, he was lucky. He got in 2010 and was able to mine on his PC and was able to churn out like a couple thousand BTC. And he's a major hodler. But if he knows that this is out there now, he may contact them. What'll happen is they'll negotiate a premium. They'll actually pay you more than what's currently on the market because they're anticipating a large run up in price. But they want to incentivize you to part with your Bitcoin. So if you say, well, I'll give up 500 out of my Bitcoin out of my stash because you're getting a huge premium on it, you'll do that. They don't want to move the market prematurely, so they're willing to pay a premium on that. Now, notice what's interesting here, though. They're claiming that their whales, their big billionaire buyers, they have clients who want to acquire up to 25% of the Bitcoin market. I mean, I find that amazing that they are actually putting that out there. That I think they really want to get the word out that these guys want to do over-the-counter transactions. Good luck gaining 25% of the Bitcoin market. I think that's going to be tough. Jumping down into this article, again, they said there's a number of entities that want to dominate the market. Guys, this is basically like, he who has the gold wins, right? Like we've been talking about, Bitcoin is super finite. And this is becoming an acceptable store of value, right? Gold 2.0. But what's different is that we know exactly how much Bitcoin there's going to be, and there won't be any more. Now, you couple that with the fact that, we've probably lost around 4.5 million Bitcoin, right? And I think north of 17 million have been mined or so. So you realize that it's really getting finite. But notice she says this kind of accumulation is not possible to realize, but her company has been instructed to scour the markets and gain access to as close to 25% as possible. I mean, that's just a huge, huge amount. But again, I think that they realize this is probably a once-in-a-lifetime thing with this asset class, right? And getting in now is going to be looking really smart when this thing's up in six figures. You're going to make billions and billions of dollars with that kind of quantity. So this is a huge amount. And it'll be interesting to see again, this plays into when the exchange supply dries up. This is when you're going to see a parabolic rise in price. So you can kind of see all the pieces coming together. I think the fact that they're putting this out in this article, they're trying to get the word out that if anybody's out there holding a bunch that want to part with their Bitcoin, here we are. So another interesting thing is Matty Greenspan of the eToro exchange. We know that there's 21 million in the code, right? He makes the point that many will not be mined for a long time, which is true, and then many more are lost for good, right? So that's about that 4.5 million. So, and then you couple that with there's the hodlers, right? A lot of these guys aren't going to want to sell probably until the six figures, right? And then even then, not all of what they have, scaling out. Okay. But if you combine all that, and this is something that we've been talking about, he's thinking realistically there's probably less than 5 million coins actually circulating at the moment. So that means outside of what people are hodling, just on the exchanges that are available to purchase. So when you think about that, that's even like, this thing's even more scarce, right? Because, 5 million coins out there, that's nothing. I mean, the big whales could buy that up. If they were able to negotiate, they could buy that up overnight. And then all of a sudden now the exchanges are, they don't have the supply. I think a large chunk of these are held by exchanges. So I think that getting them out of their hands, that many, is going to be tough because they make their money off of buying and selling, right? The spread, making a market for both sides. So that's a hugely profitable business. They're not going to want to give up a huge chunk of their circulating supply. The only way you'd be able to do that is go through the exchanges. So I think at some point the OTC market dries up. That was something that was talked about. I heard earlier in the year that the reason why we started to see a quick rise out of the bear market was because the OTC markets were drying up. And that actually makes sense now if you think about it. If this Forbes article is coming out, they're willing to now just say, hey, yeah, these guys want to buy up a X% of Bitcoin, and they're putting the word out so that if anybody else is out there that might not have been aware of the OTC market or who to contact, now they know. I think this is hugely bullish. I think that this, again, plays into where this thing's super finite and we're going to see a parabolic rise in price once the availability drops in a parabolic fashion, meaning that the supply just gets gobbled up and all of a sudden now it really just comes down to there's just really not much to purchase. Now couple that with the halving event coming up and you're cutting the inflation rate down in half. There's only going to be 6.25 Bitcoin mined every 10 minutes. I mean, do the math, guys. This thing is going to skyrocket. So the billionaires want it. They want a huge amount of it, if not gobbling it all up. And it's really going to make it hard for little guys to own whole Bitcoins. So again, we're still in that zone where you can buy whole Bitcoins, guys, but it's getting pretty sparse. It's starting to take off and getting to that level where a lot of people, it'll be hard for them to accumulate one whole Bitcoin. So get them while you can. And I think this, again, is kind of one of those one-in-a-lifetime situations. A lot of people aren't really even crypto aware yet. You guys are early adopters watching this, and I think you're going to do very, very well over the next couple of years with this asset. All right, guys. Well, that's it for this video. I just thought I would put that out there. Very bullish stuff. Thanks for watching. Please hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care.
Trade Genius.